tuned into the Lady Charmaine Live Show, and I'm your host, Lady Charmaine. And as always, I got another great interview for you today. Now, when you think of soul food, cell therapy, or the Dirty South, this group just might come to mind. And I tell you who it is coming up right after this. When you think of soul food, the Dirty South, and cell therapy, this group just might come to mind because they are considered Atlanta's legends. And they're here today to talk about their TV One Unsung episode airing this Sunday. Help me welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, Cujo, Big Gip, and CeeLo, better known as Goodie Mob. Welcome to the show. Well, it is so nice to have you guys on the show.
We got Timo on the phone, too.
Hey, Timo, you made it.
I'm right here.
Awesome, and welcome, Timo, to the show. Hello. So, fellas, I want to ask y'all, how are you guys coping with the stay in place, or are y'all staying in place? Because I know it's been pretty hard for a lot of us. We've been getting cabin fever. So, CeeLo, how are you doing with the whole we call it shelter in place?
We're doing pretty well. I think I can speak, for us in some regard of, us doing what we do professionally. We travel pretty extensively, and so therefore it's always welcome to just have some downtime to unplug and, relax and recoup. So, yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I've taken it constructively for that, despite the other, larger circumstance, that has kind of obligated everyone, in one way or another. So, but no, personally, I feel pretty good. How y'all feel, brother?
Hey, wonderful.
Everybody doing real good. Well, that's wonderful. Well, first off, I want to kick the questioning off. Cujo, I want to ask you a question. Okay, so during this whole quarantine that we're all doing, what have you realized that you may have taken for granted, but you didn't realize it until you had to stay put? So what is one thing that you realized you probably took for granted before the quarantine?
Oh, man. I would say water and tissue.
Okay. I think a whole lot of us.
I mean, but just kind of like on there, like a little water and tissue, man, because I didn't realize how fast water could go, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look down, I see a whole 45 pack of water, 2 packs, and I look up, man, they're gone. I'm like, wow, they went that quick. Mm-hmm. Paper towels and tissue too, man. That goes quick too, man. Because I'm forever washing hands, trying to wipe stuff up, man. So yeah, those two essential right there for me.
Okay, Timo, what about you?
I just really just the ability to have the opportunity to spend quality time with my family. You know what I mean? Everybody always hustling and bustling. We got a lot of businesses and stuff we run, so I really get a chance to see everybody at the house every day.
All right, me too.
My wife moves around a lot. I move around a lot, so just the fact that I'm able to, like CeeLo said, just kind of unplug from reality for a minute and just spend the time that we can at home, and just be around my family is a wonderful thing every day. I've been getting a lot accomplished around the house, too.
Okay.
So, cool.
All right, Big Gip, I have a question. Were you surprised when you got the call from TV One to do a story on Goodie Mob?
No, I wasn't really surprised. I was just thinking it was gonna come our way one day. It was real. It was surprising to see all the people that was in this season that we were beside. So it was great to be in this category of artists today, and for them to wait for the end of the season to show Goodie Mob's story. And how ironic is it that we all sit in the house? So everybody, I feel like in the United States is going to really, really get a good dose of soul food this Sunday night. And they're going to really get to understand the things that we went through, the things that was hard for us, and the challenges that we overcame. So with that being said, I'm just glad that we all here, we all healthy,
And hey, man, we'll see what God got for us tomorrow.
Now, one thing I can definitely say about
That's right.
one thing I can definitely say about the Goodie Mob is that you brought a different sound to radio. It was very different. It was new. It was fresh, and it was for our generation. In the beginning, CeeLo, I have a question for you. In the beginning, how was your sound really cultivated? Because I know there's like 4 people in the group, but where did your sound come from?
The sound is derivative of a synergy shared amongst 3 a homegrown Atlanta producer, Ray Murray, Rico Wade, and Patrick Sleepy Brown, who makes up the 4 people. I think that it was established alongside the sound of Outkast because we were second in line after their debut album, Southern Realistic Cadillac Music. And we wanted to do something, to most certainly continue in going forward, but also to distinguish ourselves. And so I think, Outkast had more of a Southern hip hop, more even a more pop or more polished approach to what their sonic outlet was, but I think us was more gritty and more rural, almost like the outback or the wooded areas of Georgia. So I think it was tribal, and I think it was primal, and very communal in that kind of way. If you could put that in the context of a sound, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, so especially when you say rural. Now this question.
Yeah.
Now this question is for you. Okay, yeah, mess. Okay, Cujo, this is a question for you that I have.
That's my brother.
Now, your group was also what some people would consider more so like in your music, civil rights activists. And your lyrics, when you think about your lyrics, when you had people during the time of Marvin Gaye, you had Harry Belafonte, and you also had people like Donny Hathaway that had messages in their music. What was the message that you guys were trying to get across to that generation when you came out?
Yeah, so I think we definitely wanted to connect and convey message because we felt morally obligated somewhat. I feel like we all were coming from very different, very humble beginnings, but very different circumstances. And our circumstances changed almost overnight when we were given the opportunity to better ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And there's a saying of you can't straddle the fence without putting your integrity on the line. You have to either park or drive. That's the only way to be in gear. There's no way to be neutral about it. You have to commit to craft. You know what I'm saying? So what we did was, we it was a bond between us as brothers. We were there to represent a common cause and a community that we all shared, and we were there to possibly change our lives and change lives in the process. So the cross that we bear was heavy, but we felt like we were built for the task and up for the duty and the responsibility of it. And that's a lot of what you hear. You hear the accountability in the lyrics. You hear mature and cultured music because we always wanted to do music that we could grow old gracefully doing. And so, even 25 years later, as we're celebrating our anniversary, we can still do these songs respectably. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's quite, an accomplishment, and it's a rarity. So we're very fortunate.
Now, I know you guys had one of your songs, guys talked about the Confederate flag, which we know that's controversial because you were right there in the heart of Georgia. And we know the Confederate flag for us as African Americans, it brings up a very harsh reality for us. During that controversy, what was the controversy and what was the backlash you guys may have faced from even addressing the Confederate flag still being and flying in Georgia? So, Big Gip, can you answer that?
No, I guess the backlash started straight out the gate. The backlash started with cell therapy straight out the gate. We got banned from MTV, got banned from just from being seen and heard in different areas. So people labeled us as racist, but we really wasn't racist. We were just telling our life story from where we was from. Since we was from the actual background of the civil rights movement, I mean, we took it upon ourselves, knowing that we had so many elders that we had come up under, that we had to impress. We had to do more than just make great music. We had to have a message. And when we dealt with the Dirty South situation, I think it was a great. The video came off so great because we kind of like showed you our Southern culture, and then at the end of the video, it ended with a girl, with a little white girl drawing the actual Confederate flag on the basketball court. So what we was trying to say was, yes, we are from the Dirty South, but the Dirty South and its history would never stop us from breaking anything that was against us. So that was our goal. It was to make sure that we made Atlanta. We stood on the things that the people that came before us did, and we expound upon it just to let the world know this is the home of the Dirty South. And if anything that our actual people went through, they went through the dirtiest of it happened in the. So with that being said, I mean, we had to represent and we had to make sure that we stood on just being men and making sure we wasn't feeding the lion at the time, because at the time, man, they wanted the East and the West Coast thing was going on. It was so much animosity, so much aggressiveness in the air, and I think we just took a more better approach where we dealt with us and we dealt with our people and just dealt with the things that we could make our people better. So I think that's why soul food as a whole has lasted for 25 years.
And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you said that, because you guys have some lyrics in your songs that people would, the moment you say Goodie Mob, everybody gonna quote one of their favorite verses, kind of like somebody just quoted to me just recently. They say, "Who's that peeking through my window? Pow, nobody now." I mean, did you realize 25 years later, the moment your name is said, it was going to be synonymous with certain lyrics? Cujo.
And that's what some people thought the name of the song was. Who's that peeking in my window? Really. They didn't even realize it, man. To let you know that, the level of how people were really listening, opposed to really reading. Because the name of the song is Cell Therapy, but you're hearing "Pow, nobody now." So I guess that was just something to get hindsight 2020, to get the attention first. And then once it got a little age on the song, people started really listening to it and just really listening to the lyrics and, just listening to how the Georgia twang and how we were really just rapping over the beat. Because, when you think about Southerners, man, you always think about they're gonna tell it how it is. They don't sugarcoat nothing, but then they're gonna put it in an articulate form, and then put it behind music, and then it just so happened that it's standing the test of time now, man. That's just an awesome thing.
And I have another question for you all, because we know that you guys did separate and you came back together. And we know that a lot of groups, when you're together, sometimes you may have creative differences in a group. Knowing what you know now, and I don't know everything that happened within your group, but knowing what you know now, how would you have handled situations before you broke up? What would you have done differently? CeeLo, can you speak to that?
Well, I want to. I think it's all in the verbiage of which you communicated. Because ultimately we never broke up formally. There was never, and in our organization, if there had been any definitive decision as such, we would have all sat down at a table and discussed. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't leave, you have to address things, responsibly, with integrity, with decency, and professionality. So therefore, you know what I mean? I want to make sure that that's clear, and that we essentially came together as a group with four different kind of components and working parts. And what you see is a power that was galvanized by those individual perspectives and skill sets brought to the table, and shared. You know what I mean? Like for a common cause that was going to take, to strengthen those numbers. And so therefore, you know what I mean? I am, and forever will be bonded to Dungeon family and Goodie Mob. You know what I mean? Like, so like, I wouldn't want people to, you know, go on any further thinking that we were ever broken up formally or you know, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I always use this example of, you know, it wasn't a matter of severance, but it was a matter of us stretching out, you know, like, and broadening the scope and actually going out into the unknown to accomplish the impossible. We had already achieved so much as Goodie Mob with 3 consecutive gold and platinum albums. You know what I'm saying? And so when that time came for us to branch out, you know, and you know, I use that example to say because, you know, to describe it, because it's just like a tree, just like the Dungeon family tree. You know, it branches out in different directions and it endures the seasons, but it also gives life. It gives oxygen. It gives shade. It gives refuge. And so it was home for me and refuge for me. Like this lost soul and little boy that needed a home and needed something to belong to. And I got to give that to elder, you know, like Rico Way, who shared his home with us. Like I could never forget that, and I could never forsake that. Now, as we grew, and we had different, you know, individual counts or priorities or perspectives, or you know, or artistic differences. You know, those things were assumable, and we communicated them somewhat. So, what I would do differently, I don't think we all just communicated or set up alternative routings for each other. It's like if one was going to leave, maybe, you know, one could have also offered some insight or some strong suggestive, you know, on, okay, but this is how we can do it. This is how we can go and do these individual things and come back together more effectively, as opposed to one thing thriving, leaving another thing dormant. You know what I'm saying? Or leaving another thing to fend for itself. So I don't think we gave ourselves the opportunity to establish an exit plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we were just blinded. I know that I was just blinded by that time by my own ambition, because there were certain things creatively that I wanted to do that were not in the context of the group. And what our mantra was about. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
that's how I could describe it. How does that sound? How does that sound?
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, bro.
What you think, Gibby?
Yeah, that was dope. It just we didn't take time to have that actual meeting. When we do that with brewing, you know what I mean? So that was just us being adolescents at the time. Instead of
and only people,
one way we dealt with it emotionally. That's all.
Yeah, you know, and the only two of us, to be totally honest, that really talked about it was me and Timo. Timo, am I correct on that?
You are totally correct, my friend.
Well,
yeah, so I want people to, and people will get some more details on this by watching the Unsung, but I think I could actually give it to you even better now. And I hope that people get the opportunity to even tune into this broadcast. But we've been doing a great deal of press, and this is of course the elephant in the room, you know, pertaining to Goodie Mob. It's like, you know, in addition to all of the many other, you know, accomplishments and heights that we reached, you know, against the odds. And to me, that's more of a testimony. But, you know, the fact that when people break up, you know, very seldom do people do they return back to each other.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Lionel Richie never went back to the Commodores. Michael Jackson never went back to the Jacksons. You know, and not saying that I'm either one of them, because those are those lone individuals. Like you know, like, as a matter of fact, I get a chance to be. I have the luxury of being two people.
Right.
You know, I'm a Gemini, so therefore, when I'm in Goodie Mob, I am CeeLo Goodie. That's it. It's like 100% or 50% of myself. And then when I get a chance to go out and do something else, I'm that. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So there's a 6 degree of separation. You know, and we've learned now as we become more and more professionals. You know, we've learned how to compartmentalize. Like, be this for this time, be this for this season, and always go home. So we've been around. I'm the prodigal son, if you will. But like, I know where home is. I made sure that I left a breadcrumb trail that I would not forget my way home, and that's why I got right. That's how I made it back safely.
I think that is wonderful, CeeLo. That was so good. Thank you for sharing your story. Now, Timo, I'm glad you're back on the line.
I mean that.
I can tell. I felt that.
I want my brothers to hear that because they need to hear that from me every now and again. If any one of my brothers need to be reminded of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the reason why it's slow is because it's the truth. It's how I feel.
Now, Timo, now that you are back on the line, what do you want the Goodie Mob history and legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I just want us to be the group that took the long road. You know what I mean? We took the road the route less traveled. You know what I mean? To a common goal amongst four brothers from four different walks of life, but from the same set. You know what I'm saying? I want you to know that we love each other. I want everybody to know four black men can work together in a positive light and a common goal is to get the music out to the people and to pass the message on through it.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, and the message is still being circulated to this day, so I just want our legacy just to be, all about four brothers on the South that spearheaded the whole hip-hop movement. You know what I mean? Because believe me, we were the first around here to bring the hip-hop. So we know that having this awesome opportunity to raise the Atlanta flag amongst people,
Facts.
And my last question is going to go to Big Gip. What do you want the audience to take away from watching your Unsung on Sunday?
I want the audience to just take away that we are actually superheroes, but we human too. We tried our best to represent us as a people the best way we could. We didn't have a manual to this. We could only just ride the ride that we were put on. It put us on a lot of different tracks, but we all circled back to be back with Goodie Mob. So with that being said, it just lets you know, man, anything can happen. Never stop believing and never believe that you can't be where you need to be. Right.
Well, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to remind the audience to make sure that you all tune in this Sunday to TV One Unsung, the story of the Goodie Mob with CeeLo, Timo, Cujo, and Big Gip. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. And CeeLo, I felt that right in my spirit. I felt that. I'm sure the guys did too. And thank you so much for sharing that on the Lady Charmaine Live show.
Yes, ma'am.
And you guys you're welcome. You guys have a great day.